All right, we'll continue on with Alabama coach Nick Saban. Coach, we'll get you to a brief opening statement, and then we'll open for question and answers. If you'll just raise your hand high, we'll get a microphone to you.
Well, it's great to be here. Hope you all had an enjoyable summer. We certainly did with our family. This is my 17th SEC Media Day, 12th at Alabama. This always sort of signals the start of the season, for us. And hopefully for, our team. We're very excited about the opportunities that we have. We got a lot of rebuilding to do on this year's team. We lost a lot of good players on defense. 10 players signed NFL contracts. So we're excited about playing Louisville in the opener in Orlando. So we had a very productive offseason, not only in terms of the development of players, but in creating value for players and helping them be successful in terms of personal development, making better choices and decisions. We continue to be one of the national leaders in, academic results, whether it's graduation rate, APR, number of guys that graduate in 3.5 years. And we had a pretty good successful season last year, as well as players did extremely well in the draft. Having 12 guys drafted in a single season was a success for our players, and to have 77 players drafted in the last 10 years and 26 first-round draft picks is also something that we're very proud of in terms of our ability to recruit quality players as well as develop those players so that they can have successful careers. I know you're going to ask a lot about this year's team, but there's a lot of things that are yet to be determined by this year's team. The personality of the team is yet to be determined. A lot of the leadership is yet to be determined. A lot of the personnel decisions, including the quarterback situation, and I know you're chomping at the bit and everybody's got their hand up to try to ask the question as quickly as possible. It's yet to be determined. It's going to be determined in fall camp by who wins the team, and there's not really a whole lot else to say about it. So both guys have shown an ability to play very successfully, and I can say that we'd much rather have 2 guys than none. So that's the answer to that question. But anyway, we certainly appreciate what you do to promote our game, to promote our players, to create a lot of positive self-gratification for a lot of the players in our sport who work so hard, and you do a great job of allowing fans to know exactly what they need to know to support athletics in college. So thank you for that.
We'll start over here on the left, on the second row in the end.
Hey, Coach, how are you? Right here.
Good.
So you're relentless on the field. We know a lot about the process of covering you for a lot of years. I'm just curious, what motivates you and makes you relentless on a personal level, away from the team? What motivates you, Coach?
Well, I've always said before that I really hate to lose, and I think I hate losing more than I like winning. And I think that is always a great motivator to make sure that the people in your organization, whether it's coaches, players, administrators, support staff, are all taking ownership and being accountable to do things at a very high level and a high standard, and everybody's working together in partnership, and everybody realizes exactly how what they do affects the future for them and for the program. So, I'm excited about it. I really look forward to it. I love the competition, so we're just going to keep on keeping on, and nobody's looking backwards. We're all looking forward to whether we can get this team to develop the characteristics they need to have the chance to reach their full potential and be successful.
My second question, I have one more, is I spoke to Kevin Elko recently, and sports psychologist, works with your program, and he recounted a story where he walked in, you were looking at a recruiting map, and then he took some time away and he came back and you were looking at the same recruiting map, and he said your mind is set up in systems that he's never seen anything like it. I'm curious, did you learn that from somewhere? Were you born this meticulous? Where did you get that from?
I can't answer that. I don't know for sure. It's probably a combination of both. I grew up, my dad was a great person. He had a very high standard for expectations in terms of what you did. There was always a reckoning for what you did, so there was always accountability. And I think that when you know you're living in a situation like that, you're always paying attention to detail. I think I've had the opportunity to work with several coaches, whether Bill Belichick, George Perlis, some very successful guys along the way that were very meticulous, paid great attention to detail, had tremendous organization in terms of what they did, created a lot of accountability in their organization, and that's why they were successful. And so the combination of those things probably got me where I am, from a systematic approach and accountability approach.
Go over here on the second row on the right side.
Hi, Nick. You had a shared national title under the BCS with LSU. Some would say after they made the playoff that you shared last year with UCF. Now, I know you've been critical of their claim because of the system that's in place, but isn't that an indication that maybe the system is broken again?
I don't think the system is broken, so you're entitled to your opinion. I'm entitled to mine. We played a very difficult schedule and lost one game and played against a great Clemson team and a great Georgia team, and nobody else beat both those teams to get where we got. So you can make whatever claim you want to make, and everybody's entitled to do that, but I'm proud of what our team accomplished. I'm not responsible for the system that we're in, and I don't think it's broken. And I think they got the best teams in the playoff, and we were happy to be a part of it. So that's my opinion. You're entitled to yours. I'm not going to get in an argument about it. So if you have a solution, maybe you ought to give it to somebody who can do something about it, like conference commissioners and the NCAA leadership and people like that. I'm not in a position to do that.
We'll go on the front row to the left side.
Hey, Coach, what sort of similarities do you see in Jerry Jeudy and some of the other highly touted South Florida receivers like Mari Cooper, Calvin Ridley?
Well, I think we have three really good freshman receivers who played and made great contribution last year, to our team. And I think those guys are going to develop into a very dynamic group, and we're excited about their future. And hopefully they'll continue to grow and develop and be very, very productive players. We obviously lost some very good players at the receiver position, but we're excited about those guys and their opportunity to be successful in the future.
Go to the camera position on the right side, about halfway up.
Coach, right up here. Mobile, Alabama has obviously been pretty good to you player-wise. You have another Mobile guy right now, Jalen Armour-Davis, freshman. Just tell me about what he's kind of already brought to the team. I've been told he's already put some weight on and is contributing pretty early.
Well, we haven't played any games yet, so he has made very nice progress. He's a fine young man. He's got really good ability. He's a hard worker. He's bright. He's been able to learn and make improvement over the summer. And hopefully he'll continue that development and be able to contribute to the team this fall. I think it's going to be critical for us on defense that we have some young players over the entire defense, but most certainly in the secondary. They're going to have to develop and mature into players that can play winning football at those positions for us, and Jalen Armour is certainly one of the people that have a chance to do that.
Go over here on the back row, all the way to the left, on the left side.
Nick, you had 6 true freshmen on offense alone making impactful plays in the second half of the Georgia game. Is that something you're even cognizant of at the time, or have we gotten to a point in the sport where true freshmen are so prepared, they have the early enrolling, where you can feel completely comfortable having over half your 11 guys out there as true freshmen?
Well, and I think at that point in the season, after 13 games, you wonder if they're really still freshmen. We've always played a lot of freshmen. I think we played 14 freshmen last year. We played 17 one year. And those guys make a tremendous contribution to our team. And I think the expectation has changed through the years as how rapidly some freshmen who have the maturity, physically and emotionally, to be able to sustain a season, continue to focus and develop and improve, can make a contribution to your team. And my obligation to our team is to play the best players. So I don't care what grade they're in or where they're from or what their mailing address is. That's kind of what we do. And If they're better than somebody else, then we're going to give them every opportunity to play. And I thought those 6 guys made a huge difference in that game. And I think the way our team turns over at Alabama, because we've had, I think, 29 guys go out early for the draft in the last 7 or 8 years, it creates more opportunity for young guys to play more quickly.
Go to the camera platform, far right.
What kind of impact has Isaiah Buggs had on you guys, and how beneficial is it to have him back in 2018?
Well, Isaiah had a really good year last year. Very good player up front, can rush, can hold the point, is physical, but very athletic. So I think he and Raekwon Davis are going to be really keys for us up front, and then we're going to have to grow some depth around those guys in terms of how successful our defensive line will be, this coming year. We don't have the depth on defense at linebacker that we had in the past, and losing Terrell Lewis certainly won't help that. But Isaiah Buggs has shown some leadership and maturity. He's in better condition. I think he had a better spring, and I think he has a very bright future.
Go over here to the third row on the left side, right in the middle.
Coach, I wonder if you might comment on Christian Miller, on how he battled back from injury last year and how his role might change now in light of Lewis's injury.
Well, Christian has been a really good player for us, and even though he's very diverse in what he does, he's a good pass rusher. He can play. We actually train him to play inside linebacker as well as outside linebacker because of the depth situation. Now he'll be a starter at outside linebacker because so that plan may go awry. But Christian's a very bright guy. He's graduated. He's done an internship in marketing. He's got diversity as a player. He can play multiple positions and very athletic. And his issue when he first came in was he lacked bulk and strength, and now he's developed those things, and I think he can have an outstanding year for us.
Go to the front row of the camera platform over here on the right.
Coach, how big is it to have Damian Harris back for his senior season, not just for his playing ability, but for that veteran leadership in the backfield as well?
Well, Damian's always set a great example, been a good leader, been a player that other players can emulate. I think he cares about his teammates, so I think he's very well respected on our team from a leadership standpoint. Obviously, a guy that's had back-to-back 1,000-yard rushing seasons has made a great impact, and hopefully that impact will even be greater this year. I think running back is a position where we have pretty good depth, so Damian's leadership will be critical to helping those other guys play well this year, and I think that could be one of the strengths of our team.
Go to the front row of the camera platform over here on the left.
Coach Damian was in here earlier, and he discussed your boat trip this summer where you ran out of gas, and he said he enjoyed seeing you a little uncomfortable. Was there a reckoning for that? And is it good for you to kind of get out of your comfort level every now and then?
Well, first of all, let me get the record straight here. We got a brand new boat. First time I've been out in a boat, and the fuel pump went out. All right, so we did not run out of gas. Now, there has been some benefit from everybody thinking we ran out of gas. I've got at least 100 gas cans. So I got plenty of gas plans. If anybody needs one, let me know. I'll be glad to send you one because I can't use them all. But we do that every year with our players. Probably about 3 times a year we have players out to the house, leadership group in this case, sometimes seniors. We have all the freshmen the day before we start camp come out for a cookout. I take them all out. They tube, do jet skis, swim, fish. So Lake Tuscaloosa is really kind of nice for that. And we had an unfortunate incident where the boat stopped with 2 tubers on the back. So I thought we ran out of gas, to be honest with you. But when the mechanic came, he said, "You're not out of gas. Your fuel pump went out. Look, you're full." So I said, I don't want to mention what boat we had because they've been very good boats for us in the past. But anyway.
We'll go to the front row of the camera position right here in the middle.
Coach, a question about two different players. First, Henry Ruggs, you touched on the younger wide receivers, but specifically, how pleased were you with his productivity last year? And also on the defensive side of the ball, Mack Wilson, how have you seen him mature, and what do you expect his role to be on defense next season?
Well, first of all, Mack is going to be a signal caller. He got a lot of experience last year as a starter. Went through a difficult time with his foot. He had a Jones fracture in his foot. But we need Mack to really be the guy on defense this year for us when it comes to leadership and how he affects other people. He's going to be the signal caller. He's very athletic, very good player. We don't have any questions about his ability to do what he needs to do at his position to be successful, but how he affects other people is going to be critical, I think, as well. Henry Ruggs had a fantastic year. We thought he was the most dynamic player in Alabama the year that we recruited him, and he certainly didn't disappoint in terms of a lot of the big plays that he made. And we're hopeful that he'll continue to develop and even be more productive in the future.
Go all the way to the right, standing.
Hey, Coach, Bruce Marshall at Sports Byline. A quick question about players who declare early for the NFL draft, and it's more about the process, really. On the basketball side, they give these guys a lot of flexibility in the camp, and they can pull their name out. Are you comfortable with the way football does it? It seems like it's quite a compressed time frame, especially for the teams that play in the later bowl games like you do.
And I'm not sure that we need that now. They moved the draft back almost 60 days. And they can move the combine back some. They moved the draft back some, so they actually could move the date back some. I've always been an advocate. I was an advocate and helped get the juniors to be able to work out early for the NFL people. So I've always left the NFL completely open to our practices anytime they want to come. Test players as long as it was legal, because if players do need to make a decision about going after the NFL draft, to me it's a critical business decision, and you have to have really good information to make a good decision. So if they don't have the measurables on guys, if they haven't watched the guys and evaluated them correctly, it's very difficult for them to know exactly where they would pick them either. So whatever we can do to enhance that process, because we obviously have far too many people making a decision to go out early for the draft that is a poor business decision, that aren't making teams, that even aren't getting drafted. Maybe this new developmental league will help that some, but football is really the only major sport that does not have a developmental league. Baseball has minor leagues, hockey has minor leagues, basketball has a G League or D League or whatever they call it. So there's a place to develop players. In football, it's all or nothing. So you have to do your development in college. So it becomes critical as to where you enter the draft. So if you're not a first-round draft pick or have a first-round grade who may get drafted in the second round, you should stay in school and try to become one of those things. And there's too many guys not making that decision, right now, which then if they don't make it, they don't have any place to play. So it's a kind of an all or nothing decision.
We got time for one more. We'll go to the camera platform right here in the back.
Hey, Coach. To your left. Aaron Murray and David Pollack both made some pretty strong comments yesterday and today in regards to Jeremy Pruitt's time at Georgia, saying he might have been more disrespectful to Mark Richt than any coordinator should be to a head coach. You've known Coach Pruitt longer than just about anyone in college football. I was curious if you had a different opinion on that, or if you could corroborate anything that they had spoken on.
Well, I can only speak about the experience that I had with Jeremy Pruitt. I was not with him at Georgia, so I can't make any comment about what happened there, but he did a fantastic job for us. He was always very respectful, very loyal, hardworking, did a fantastic job with our players. Our players had a tremendous amount of respect for him. He was always fair and honest in his approach in terms of how he did things. So I have never seen that side, and it's really surprising to me to hear people say that, but because I've never seen it. That's not to say that it didn't happen. I don't know that. But I can only judge people on how they treat me and the job they do for what they do with us. And, Jeremy Pruitt did a fantastic job for us.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.